Welcome to Everyday Economics, a podcast that helps you learn about the economic world happening around you every day. I'm your host, Chris Krug, president of the 501c3 nonprofit Franklin News Foundation. Everyday Economics is a production of America's Talking Network. You can check out all of our great podcasts at americastalking.com. To support podcasts such as this one, please make your tax-deductible contribution by clicking the link in the show description. We are recording this episode on Monday, October 10th, and joining me as always is Dr. Orphe Divounguy. He's a PhD economist. Dr. O, I'm going to jump right into it. Hey, the jobs report came out on Friday. Data is somewhat interesting. The unemployment fell to 3.5%. Number of jobs on payrolls rose by 263,000. Still, there's just a lot of uncertainty in this space right now. What did you make of the report, and what do you think it means with regard to the economy?
You know, I look at these numbers, and the first thing I notice is that job growth slowed. Job growth is finally slowing, and I think this is welcome news for the Fed, right? The Fed is trying to cool down an overheated economy, and you know, you see job growth slowing. Labor force participation remained, little change, slight uptick. All good news for the Fed. But, for those who are hoping the Fed's going to apply apply the brakes, it's bad news because, look, employment growth continuing to increase, wage growth continuing to increase, and prices where they're at, the Fed has to continue to hike. Of course, there's a lot of fear that the Fed might oversteer, right? Because, if you know, carefully, we have to think of the fact that monetary policy operates with a lag. We have to think that prices are already falling in parts of the economy. We know in the housing market, things are slowing already drastically in and presenting some opportunities for many who had been left out during the pandemic. But, do you see a cooling? And the cooling means that, perhaps, the Fed could end up doing too much, right? We see market rents falling already in many areas, but rent in the consumer price index is still increasing rapidly, right? So with that said, I think it's a jobs report that the Fed's going to say, look, the economy is finally kind of cooling, but we have to keep working on bringing down inflation because the risk is still very elevated.
Yeah, just taking a look at the bar chart. I mean, I think sort of the best way to look at this, if you're just trying to understand sort of, what September's results look like and what do they mean. Of course, they missed estimate, right? They were supposed to be, I think, 0.2% higher that the Dow.
That's right. That's why
the estimate was 275 and it came in at 263. But if you look at the bar chart and there's an anomaly this summer. June went down substantially. July went up significantly, almost as much. You balance the two out, and it almost looks like stair steps coming down from a high mark in February, where the economy added nearly 750,000 jobs. But for the balance of the year, otherwise, it really just does kind of look like a gradual stepping down. And September's numbers, I mean, call it for what it is, would be that would be the smallest single month job growth.
That's right. That's exactly what the Fed is after, right? Remember, they wanted that soft landing, and this last jobs report is a slow and steady cooling down of the labor market. That's what it looks like. We looked at hiring falling. We saw hiring in the JOLTS, which we talked about on the podcast, hiring falling. We saw job openings also falling. This is exactly what the Fed is after. So this, ahead of their November meeting, this is good news. Of course, we're going to get the CPI report this week, and that's really going to be telling, right? But yeah, this is the type of jobs report that the Fed wants to see. It will probably still hike by 75 basis points, right? And I say probably because I don't know with certainty, but there's a camp out there that's like, well, maybe that's too much. Maybe you should approach kind of a wait and see approach, right? But the Fed is trying to catch up. It was behind by far. too late to hike, and now it's trying to catch up. And you know what I really think is interesting, though.
What's that?
Is the fact that construction employment still climbs. Right, we've heard reports of 9 consecutive months of falling builders' confidence, and yet employment in the construction sector is still growing.
To pull out from the data that was included in the September jobs report, leisure and hospitality, I found those two to be kind of strange. I mean, really? I mean, it's like things are tightening. I mean, I'm looking at stories about gas bills being massive in the weeks to come, but leisure and hospitality, healthcare, and business and professional services, so contracted consultancy kind of work,
right?
We're the sector gainers. Does any of that make any sense to you? Against your interest in construction?
Oh, for sure. I mean, leisure and hospitality, I can kind of see, right? Those industries that were shut down during the COVID pandemic have a long way to go, and they're still trying to catch up. So I can kind of see that. But yeah, I mean, construction, professional and business services have 46,000 jobs in September. Yeah, I find it really puzzling. I mean, I'm happy construction's still going, right, and going strong, because of course, we have a massive housing unit deficit in this country, and we'd love to see more residential construction. I think a lot of builders are going into multifamily units. Great, fantastic, right? We need that because those are the kind of things that might actually help to bring down inflation.
Sure.
So that's good news. It's just a little odd that, when you look at consumer surveys and you look at builder surveys, builder sentiment, right? There's this terrible kind of negative vibe, right? That there's a impending doom and gloom. And yet, when you look at these jobs numbers, you realize that, people have jobs. People are working. I guess that's a good thing.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts. For Orphe Divounguy, this has been Chris Krug. Subscribe to Everyday Economics and dozens of other quality podcasts at americastalking.com.